On today's episode, I'll be speaking with Rachel Marie Martin, a single mom of 7, an entrepreneur, and a very successful blogger of the website Finding Joy, which is a robust community that empowers women in the midst of their motherhood journey. It has gotten over 50 million page views and more than 1 million Facebook fans. Rachel is also the author of the new book, Mom Enough. Today, we're going to talk about how Rachel pulled herself out of a financial rut using her gift of writing. Plus, she'll offer tips on how moms can get out of their stuck days of motherhood. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to have you as well. You're going to be such an inspiration. I know it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I have a question for you. So when people ask you what you do, what do you tell them? Because you have so many titles.
So that's interesting. I've written about that too, but now I will tell them that I'm the author and founder of Finding Joy. But it took a long time for me to say I'm an author. I also say I'm a speaker, but it took a long time for me to use the I am this phrase. Like I will tell people now, like I'm a runner. But then I'm like, am I really? And then last year I ran 1,000 miles. So my husband's like, well, you are a runner. So I am now proud to say I am an author and a speaker and the founder of Finding Joy.
Yes. And speaking of Finding Joy, I'm so inspired by your blog that you started. Well, you started that 7 years ago, right?
I actually started it, I believe it was 2008 when I started it. So long, we're talking 15 years. I was in the rough days of the internet when blogging was like, what do you do?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's changed because I started my blog almost 10 years ago. And I feel like even the definition of blog has changed and evolved over the years. It looks so much different than it did back in the day. Don't you feel that too?
Oh, completely. And kudos to you for 10 years. My husband and I teach and train like entrepreneurs and everything. And the attrition rate we've seen, it's short. So when you're in there a long time, it means that we've decided not to be Blockbuster and not adapt. We are just adapting constantly.
Yes, exactly. And how many, you have 7 kids. How old are they now?
So they are 14 to 28. And I'm going to add an addendum to the bio that you gave. I'm now remarried since that bio, which also added to my collection of children. I have 4, I always call them my bonus kids. Aww. And my one daughter got married. So now at Christmas time, there's 12 presents under the tree.
Oh my goodness. You're going to be a grandma and you're so young. You look like you're in your 20s.
I love you. You're my favorite right now. So thank you.
Okay, so let's just go back a little bit before you started your blog. I know you were in a financial rut at the time when you were married to your ex-husband. Can you tell us a little bit about that season and how you were able to pull yourself out of that?
So that season, now it's, when you look back, I'm like, how did that happen? That season was a season of me giving up responsibility in some ways. Not that I totally gave it up, but I was so devoted to being like a good mom, a good wife, a good this. And I thought that was my role. That was it. And the finances, I had 7 kids, so I was just busy all the time, but I kept pushing it off to like, it's not my job. It's not my job. It's not my job. But it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then when I would try to take control, I would get kind of pushback. So that was an odd thing for me until one day I started writing a blog because of Yahoo Groups, which way back early 2000s was when Yahoo Groups were around. And in the evolution of Yahoo Groups, those blogs kind of started. And I started writing it and the blog started making money. I still remember when Google sent me a check, like I was like, Google, the big dog sent me a check. It was like 31, I think the threshold was $30. So it was probably like $31.03. But it was huge because it took my wrong idea, like I don't have any control, and showed me you do have control. Like I can do this. And so I started blogging, and then I started realizing I can get myself out of this situation. And the thing I tell people all the time is it wasn't like I started blogging and 6 weeks later I did this miraculous course and I was completely debt free. It was a process of continuing to do it. People saying, what are you doing? What's a blog? Continuing to put myself out there, doing the hard things, calling creditors, taking care of it, looking at a credit report, and becoming responsible for my own story is what I really ended up doing.
Wow, that's good. And back then, I know blogging and writing and making money from a blog was much different. Like, how were you actually able to make money? Because I'm sure you weren't thinking about SEO and all these other things, affiliate market, you know what I mean? There's different
Right.
strategies these
So,
days.
boy, that is such a good, it is, that's so interesting. I made it originally through ads because I would get a lot of hits to my site, but I also had an ebook, which is when you introduce the Mom Enough book, the ebook was my Dear Mom letters. And in 2013, I published the first raw version of what ended up becoming this book, part of this book. And I published the ebook, and it was all these letters that moms would say, I wish I had these to give to my friend. And I was like, okay. So we worked and we put it into an ebook, and I published it. And I can remember, I mean, of all places, being in church on Mother's Day and seeing my phone, whatever old phone I must have had then, like the vintage Apple, like light up, and it would say, you got a sale, you got a sale, you got a sale.
Oh.
And that was really empowering for me to actually see, okay, again, if I put myself out there, it doesn't mean everybody's going to respond, but you can't make money if you don't put yourself in a position to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest lesson. Like, I had to actually open the doors. I had to be vulnerable. Like, when you launched an ebook, especially back then, that was a really vulnerable thing, because I kept thinking, why would anybody want to buy that? But that whole mind thing can get you to can put the brakes on. But I also knew I did not want to go backwards. I did not want creditors at my door. I did not want to teach my kids that. I wanted them to see me as someone that was able to change her story and have things rightly ordered.
Wow, that's so well said. Now, at the time, were you passionate about writing, and were you thinking, "Oh, I'm going to explore using my gifts"? Like, what was your mindset back then?
Ooh, I love your question. That's a good one. Was I passionate about writing? So I've always been, I'm going to start it with, I've always been passionate about stuff online or internet or computer, because in the 80s, my dad bought one of the first Texas Instrument computers. Like, there was no Best Buy, and my dad bought it in somebody's house in a kitchen. They had them all lined up, and he brought it home, and then he brought a book home about how to code. So I learned how to code as a really young kid, thinking, this is amazing. I can type all this stuff in and a little ball will bounce across the screen. So I loved that. And I always just had this affinity towards it, to whatever the computer could be. And now in college, I remember getting like, you need to have an email address. So I put my AOL floppy disk in, which everybody thought was like, ooh, it's the internet, and got the you've got mail. And through that process was in those groups where I would write. And I loved writing as a kid. I loved speaking as a kid. I can remember I won a forensics meet when I was in 7th grade and 8th grade. And in college, I took some speaking classes, and I enjoyed the writing. But then when the blog came out, that whole opportunity to just write, I realized, you know what? I can do this. I love doing this. It was like almost getting what was on my inside out. And then other people are like, oh, how did you know what I was thinking? So it was a process, an
Yes.
evolving of self.
Yeah. And do you still call it a blog now, Finding Joy?
I do. I mean, I've called it a web. I mean, at the heart, that's what it is. It's really the
Mhm.
hub now. It's the website that I've built that leads you to other things. But at the heart, there still is the blog part in there, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Yeah.
with all of that because I'm proud of it. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes there was old mommy bloggers, and I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? Wow, kudos to us. We created an entire industry.
Yeah. And I feel like your blog now, it's a traditional blog. Like, would you label it that compared to some of the
Probably.
blogs you see today?
Probably. I've worked with people that with redesigns, and we need to up it and all of that, but it is definitely more of just the writing. Here's the pages. I mean, I could update it. I've just been really busy, and I do a lot of my writing too on Facebook, because that community just it just exploded. And
Hmm.
I always value meeting the people where they are. Like, if they're going to gather on Facebook and we're going to have a cool conversation, I'm going to meet them there. This is where they are, versus forcing them to other spaces. Like,
Hmm.
this is the community, and I've really enjoyed it. I think back to my very first Facebook post for Finding Joy, which you couldn't, it's brilliant in the hindsight, but I'm like, how would it, like, it's perfect because it was basically, I'm going to give this Facebook thing a try. That was the first one. And I thought, what a cool life story that is. Like at that point, the fan count was zero, or
Mm-hmm.
probably my mom or my daughter at that point, but two. But I was willing to put myself out there. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm like, that is the coolest first post ever.
Yeah. And you know what else is cool? I think I heard you say in the interview that you've never paid for a Facebook ad. Like this is just all natural organic traffic, right?
True. I've never paid Facebook ever. I've done a lot of talking about how to build an audience without paying, never paid for ad, never paid to boost a post, nothing. So Facebook, Zuckerberg and I were just friends.
He likes you.
He does.
One
He
of the
does.
few people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the few
It's
people on
interesting.
Facebook.
Yeah. I've always said that I just play within the parameters that Facebook gives. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the biggest thing. Like they've given there's this platform that we can all go on. And I know that it's like if I was to create it, I couldn't. And so, and the audience is there. So I'm super grateful. I always look at it like people will say the algorithm has shifted, it's dead. I'm like, no, let's just see what the parameters are and work within it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that attitude has helped me a lot.
Yeah. And I feel like your audience, they really resonate with your material. Like, what do you have any secrets for, let's say, some mom bloggers listening? Like, well, how do I get people to come to my website or my Facebook? Like your
Do what
writing
you
is so authentic. Well, yeah.
Yeah, do what you love. I mean, like I said, I've coached and I've led workshops and done a lot of teaching to entrepreneurs. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the things that I would see over and over, we would see is people that would build these like large communities, but be stuck in a lane that they didn't love. And because they didn't love it, because what they shared was getting likes and creating traffic, but they didn't resonate with it. So there was this conflict within. And if you're not, I would say it's like if you're not congruent with what you're doing, or you have a passion or you love it, eventually it will catch up to you. No matter what you do in the beginning, when you can find that part of you that's like, you know what, this is something I could talk about. Like if someone said to you, can you go speak tomorrow in 5 minutes on stage? That's really what you love, because you'll be like, okay, and this is what it is. So I tell people all the time, really look for what it is that you're passionate about or what you can easily talk about. Um, and then kind of to ignore the chatter of do this, do that, you should do this, do that, because all the chatter does is divert you from your true heart.
Right. And I love that you said do what you're passionate about, because I'm so passionate about like encouraging moms to find their
Mm-hmm.
passion or stir up the gifts that are inside of them. So, and I know we're speaking about getting out of the rut of motherhood. And I know you have a chapter or a section in your book that talks about that.
I do.
Now, can you think of a time when you were stuck in that rut of motherhood and you had to try to pull yourself out of it?
Yeah, I can think of many times. I can think of, because ruts, if you've ever been in one, they're different depths. Sometimes you're really, really stuck, and sometimes it's
Mhm.
just this little bump. But I do know that there came a point in my first marriage where I realized that I was either going to be bitter the rest of my life. It was like I was in this kind of space, or I was going to have to figure out and find joy. And it was so clear to me that by not choosing and not deciding, I was choosing bitterness. Like the only option was to choose the other thing, which is kind of the evolution of finding joy.
Mm.
And that rut, that was a personal rut, like which which filtered out to my kids, because they would see me. I didn't want to get to the end of motherhood and they would say, well, she was a good mom, but boy, was she unhappy. Like I just didn't want that to be my story. So I knew that part of that rut, that deep personal one, was me connecting with who I was again, and me deciding that I'm not worth living life on hold, waiting for a hypothetical tomorrow or something to shift. Like I needed to be active every day in living that life. So that, that's a rut. You get into other ruts too, like we're doing the same thing every day. And anytime there's a rut in life, I always say you have to switch it up, go home a different way. get a different drink at Starbucks, get a different spaghetti sauce, watch a different show. I mean, it's just changing it up, being very conscious of what you do and knowing why, asking yourself, why am I doing it this way? I remember one time my kids saying to me, do you always put the peanut butter on first or the jelly on first? And I thought, I don't even know. Like it was so automatic to me that just even the question that one of them would have to me made me think about it. So the best way to get out of a rut is to start to be a little bit introspective and say, why am I doing it this way?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, just as simple as like changing up your routine and doing things differently. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like, and I don't know, you can let me know your thoughts, because I do think writing is a great outlet for moms, even if it's just journaling, because you're getting your thoughts out on paper or blogging or what have you. And I feel like a lot of moms, as we mentioned earlier, you know, they have a lot of gifts inside of them, whether it's crafting or whatever the gift is, but they may be in a rut in their life and they feel like maybe they don't have time to work on those things.
Right.
Like, do you have any thoughts as far as like moms pursuing their passions and their gifts to help them get out of ruts?
Yeah, the only person that can give you time is yourself. That's the number one thing. If we're always looking for something on the outside to give us time, like when this is done, when soccer's done, I'll have more time. Well, then as soon as soccer's done, they're signing up for wrestling, or as soon as soccer's done, there's the next thing. So the only way to get time is to decide I'm going to take time. And sometimes that means that some stuff has to fall by the wayside. Maybe I don't get the dishes done, or maybe I don't do that right now, but I'm going to take this time to do this. And then, you know, moms will say, sometimes people say, well, I can't get up earlier. It's too much. Well, it's too much if you decide I'm going to get up an hour earlier. But if for 60 days you get up 1 minute earlier, it's this slow progression. And I think that's the part with time where we get almost a little like hung up, because we're like, we need it now. I need to figure it out now. I need to be fulfilled and happy in 5 days. And it's I want to just say, like, we should just all breathe, because we live in a world where every time, I mean, you and I will get off of this, go into Instagram, and we'll probably be targeted with like, improve your life in 6 easy ways. Like, and we see it and we think it should be easy, or there's only 6 steps. And a lot of time figuring out your own heart or taking time, it's hard. It's hard because you're having to make a decision, just like I had to choose joy. You're having to make a decision that you're not going to use the default anymore. I'm not going to just do what I always did, just again. And then maybe tomorrow I'll come to the decision, because you're just kind of, it's almost like wasting time or letting the time go by. Now, granted, if you have little babies, I'm like, you cannot compare your time to a mom whose kids are in high school. Like that little baby stage, you are spent keeping them alive, keeping them from going in the middle of the street. Don't put your finger in that. Don't do that. It's exhausting. So the time there might be 2 minutes, or take the long way home and sit in the car. But you have to invest in yourself in order to give.
Yeah. And I think you're probably an expert on this, because you had 7 little kids, right? When you started your blog,
Yes.
How old were they?
My youngest he was under one, actually. So that would be 14 years, because he has celiac disease, and his journey, before I really knew what I was doing, like where I wanted to go with it, there are some posts of me where I was just writing about that journey with celiac disease. And you can feel the anguish in me because my child was so sick. So it was when he was young. And I remember one of the letters in the book, I remember writing at the top of my stairs at my house in Minnesota. I live in Nashville now, but because my little boys, I was a single mom then, the 2 little ones, you know, it was bedtime, and they thought it was really funny to not stay in the beds. So if I sat outside their room with my computer, they would not come out. So for a while, that was just what I did. But that was the only way to get done what I needed to get done. And it would be easy to judge, like, oh, aren't they going to bed, or they should do that. But in that moment, I was doing exactly what I needed to do to move myself forward and to keep things going.
Right. And you found time to like work on your writing, your passions, like during that, like you made it work during that time.
I did. I mean, was it perfect? Absolutely not. Was it messy? Yes. Was it a lot of trial and error? Yeah. Every single time I would hit publish, you know, there'd be like, I always tell people your page views are at 0 when you start it every time. It doesn't matter who it is. And there's that little level of vulnerability. So it was more for me deciding, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm not going to let the speed bumps stop me.
Yeah. And then your book, Mom Enough, like what is the heart of that book, your new book?
So over the course of my blogging journey, I've written letters to moms. I've written letters from to the mom who feels like she's failing, to letting go, to you're stronger than you think, or this idea when I've dealt with anxiety. I've talked about the holidays, about my son with celiac, all these. I've just written these letters, and people have they just resonated them. I started writing the letters before the mom letter even was this huge thing on the internet. Well, I have this wonderful publisher right now, and I'm in the process of writing yet another book. But when we were chatting, they said, you know what we'd love to do is we would love to take those letters that people have been asking for. Like it's every day almost. Do you have your letters in a book? Do you have your letters in a book? So you either pay attention to the universe and all of its noise, or you ignore it. And my publisher's like, if they want these letters, let's put them in a book for them. So for me, it's this beautiful collection of letters written at moments, sometimes when the rawness is there. I read it and I think, oh my gosh, that person got through that. And what I love about it is this, I couldn't write it at this place in life, because when you're in it, when you're like at that moment, and there's a level of authenticity and rawness that gets reflected in that. And so that's what they are, is the letters throughout the years put together. And what I wanted it to be was like, let's say you're having the day where it's, you got littles and it's you're struggling to get through. Like there's a section on that. You can find the letter that I wrote to Finding Joy, to myself about getting through.
I love that. So it's literally your journey through motherhood.
It really is.
Yeah.
Really is. It really is. Someone actually said to me the other day, it was like a sacred snapshot of it. And she said you could see like the progression through it of my own journey. And I think the motherhood journey, because in the beginning, there's so much about the littles and it's noisy and all of that. And then there comes this part where I'm writing about the loud silence of the teenage years and what it's like to let go. And there's this part where I'm remembering the beginning chapters of it when I was like wishing for it to be a little bit quiet. And now I'm wishing for it to be a little bit loud. So there's this cool dichotomy in it.
Wow, I love that. And I know you've had some health challenges over the years. Now, are there any letters just around that season of your life?
So, do you know what? That's interesting. I've written about the celiac disease journey just in the way of that you never expect it. You never think, okay, this is the story I want for my child. Like that'll be fun. And I kind of wrote about that morning, that realizing that this is different. I've struggled with anemia, and I haven't written a letter in that book, although I've written about it on my website, because for me, I have iron deficiency anemia. And the thing with that is it's manageable when I take control of it. When I remember, take your iron, do the right stuff. But what happens, and I think a lot of us women have this, is I start feeling better and then I forget to take it. So it's really, for me, every time I talk about dealing with that, it's really a reminder to me, like, if I want to feel good, I have to do the things. I have to make it so easy for me to remember, take your iron in the morning. Because if I don't, no one else has to give it to me. It's my responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's important. I mean, because of the busyness of what we do,
right.
A lot of moms, they just don't take care of themselves, just period. Whether it's regular checkups, just
right.
whatever it may be.
Right. I always tell people this, but that is, let's say you and I, we got in our car and we had to go somewhere, and we knew it was 28 miles from now. And we get in there and the little like fuel light comes on and it says, you have 11 miles to empty. There is no way any of us would be like, you know what? I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it today. I'm going to coast. I'm going to coast down the hills in Nashville, and I'm going to make the 28 miles in 11, because we know we're not going to make it. Yet in our own lives, we're like, you know what? I'm just going to coast. I'm going to push it. And then we're like surprised. Well, how did I burn out?
Right. So, that's such a great analogy.
That's the analogy I always give. Yeah.
Now, and just speaking of the celiac disease and your son, I mean, there's a lot of moms listening who have kids that are suffering, with health challenges. Do you have any, and I know there's various degrees of health challenges that a mom may face, but just generally,
Right.
are there any words of encouragement that you could speak to them, because that's the season of life that they're in right now and it's difficult.
It is. I go back to just like nobody plans for divorce. Nobody thinks, "Wow, this will be great." They know there's no yearbook out there that has "I'm going to get divorced when I'm 42" like as the goal. None of us plan that either. Health challenges with our kids. The biggest thing I've learned is just not to compare, to respect each mom's journey with it, and to show up in ways, just in the simplest ways. Maybe they're not going to say, "Yeah, I'll take a meal." So maybe just show up. You put yourself there. I had a friend in Minnesota who's still a dear friend of mine. When I was going through my biggest challenges, she showed up at my door with 2 buckets of cleaning supplies and walked in. I just walked in, and my own self was like, "No, no, 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 I can do it." But then I realized this is her gift to me. So I think it's a powerful thing, whether you're the mom that needs it or you're the mom that's hearing it, is when we show up in ways, because it's so easy to say, "No, I don't need it." And so in that spot, I want to encourage, when you do need it, to just accept that gift. And when you accept it, you learn how to give better. But in those moments, accepting that gift was not only a gift to me, but it was also to my friend. It was a gift back because she was blessing me. For me to say no would have been saying, I don't need that. So
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing I've learned, is during those seasons, is if you're not in the season, be someone that helps out, checks in. But and if you're in it, to know that there's 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 a new normal that can come with it, whether it's easy or not, but it can eventually come, and that you're not alone. And to find your people. Like, I did not know back then what gluten-free bread could hold a door open. Like, it was so dense and so not like just whatever. And I remember meeting people and they're like, "You can't get that brand ever again. Get this." And that little bit of advice made me realize I'm not alone. And that's
That's so
powerful.
good. Yeah, that's so good. And just for the moms who are not sure if they're in a rut right now, maybe they're not sure
Mhm.
what that means. I mean, and just to clarify, I mean, there's a difference between being in a rut and maybe there's a mom who, they genuinely need maybe professional help, if they're having some
Correct.
mental health challenges. But just to kind of clarify, like, what would you say, like, if they're not sure if they're in a rut, what that might look like?
Well, I would say that if you actually go, "I wonder if I'm in a rut," you probably might be in a rut. Like, you'll have, when you have that wondering, or if you have, "Is this it?" Or "What does this all mean?" Or you start to question things. Maybe just look, maybe just change stuff up. And even if you're not in a rut, the best way to avoid getting into something like that is to change it up. Like, if you're only driving in one path on a dirt road, you're going to create that. So you have to keep moving it, keep shifting things around, trying something new. Put your Christmas tree in a different room this year. Little things like that. They just can, they help kind of us becoming stagnant, staying in the same spot, and then not even realizing it.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for being here. That was so great. That's so awesome. Your advice. Is there anything else that you think that we should talk about, or you wanted to share maybe from your book that we didn't mention?
I guess actually the one thing I want all moms to know is, like, the reason it's called Mom Enough is, people have asked me about that. Like, what does that mean? Is at the end of everything, the small things that we do, those little things that you do, that I do, that we dismiss or we put "I'm just a mom" in front of, those are the things that matter the most. Like, my teenagers could be so cranky at me, but they get sick and they love me, like, because they know I'm the person. Or at the car school, like the pickup line, they are not thinking I'm going to go home with that person because they have a cooler car. They're just looking for me and the
Mhm.
snacks. Like, those are the things that matter. And that's what I want us all to remember, because the end of it all, I think those small Mom Enough moments are the moments that make the biggest difference.
Awesome. Now, where can people find you if they want to know more about you, your blog, or purchase your book?
So you can find me the easiest spots on Facebook. It's Finding Joy blog on Facebook. You type in Finding Joy, you'll see my face pop up, or else findingjoy.net is my site. And then Mom Enough, it's sold wherever books are sold: Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble.
Hey moms, thanks for listening today. If you enjoy this show, I would love to hear from you by way of an encouraging review. This podcast is meant to be a blessing to mothers, so I appreciate any support for this platform. Until next time.